I, 32F, have been married to Rob, 35M, for 7 years. We have a blended family. I have a daughter Lily, 14F, from a previous relationship, and Rob has 2 sons, Jack, 16M, and Tom, 12M. Our story began 10 years ago when we met at a local charity event. I was a single mom struggling to make ends meet, working 2 jobs to support Lily and myself. Rob was a charming, successful businessman who had recently divorced. He swept me off my feet with his kindness and attention to both me and Lily. At first, our relationship was like a fairy tale. Rob was attentive, caring, and seemed to genuinely love Lily as his own. He would spend hours playing with her, helping with her homework, and even took her to father-daughter dances at school. His sons, Jack and Tom, were initially wary of us but gradually warmed up. I remember the first time Jack called me Mom. It was during a family camping trip, and I felt like my heart would burst with happiness. We got married in a small ceremony on the beach 3 years after we started dating. It wasn't always easy blending our families, but we worked hard at it. We established family game nights, took turns choosing movies for our weekly film nights, and made sure to celebrate each child's achievements equally. About 2 years ago, my grandmother passed away. She was more than just a grandparent to me, she was my rock. After my parents died in a car accident when I was 16, she took me in and raised me. She was there for me when I found out I was pregnant with Lily at 18, and she supported us both emotionally and financially while I finished college. Her passing hit me hard, and I spent weeks going through old photo albums, reminiscing about the summers we spent at her beach house. To my surprise, Gran left me her beach house in her will. It's a beautiful property that's been in our family for generations. I have so many fond memories of spending summers there as a child, building sandcastles with my parents, learning to swim in the ocean, having bonfires under the stars with my high school friends. When Lily was born, I started taking her there too, and Gran would tell her stories about our family history. When we received the news about the inheritance, Rob immediately started talking about selling it and using the money to start a business he'd been dreaming about. He wanted to open a chain of high-end gyms, something he'd been planning for years but never had the capital to start. I was hesitant. The house meant so much to me, and I wanted to keep it in the family. I suggested we could rent it out during peak seasons to generate some income, but Rob wasn't interested. He kept pushing the idea of selling, saying it would be a waste to keep it. He argued that we could use the money to secure our future, pay for the kids' college educations, and still have enough left over for his business venture. For months, we went back and forth about it. I tried to explain the sentimental value, how much it meant to me and Lily, but Rob seemed unable or unwilling to understand. He started making comments about how I was living in the past and needed to think about our future. Things came to a head last month when Rob announced he'd contacted a real estate agent to value the property. I was furious. We had a huge argument, and I told him in no uncertain terms that I wouldn't be selling the house. I reminded him that the house was left to me, not us, and that he had no right to make decisions about it. He stormed out and didn't come home that night. Since then, Rob's behavior has changed dramatically. He's become cold and distant, often staying late at work or going out with friends without telling me. He barely speaks to me at home, and when he does, it's usually to make snide comments about the beach house or my selfishness. What's worse is that his attitude seems to be rubbing off on his sons. Jack, who used to be quite close to Lily, has started making mean comments about her. Last week, I overheard him tell Tom that Lily wasn't their real sister and they shouldn't have to share anything with her. It broke my heart to hear this, especially after all the work we'd done to blend our family. Tom, on the other hand, seems confused and upset by the tension in the house. He's been quieter lately, often retreating to his room to play video games instead of joining in family activities like he used to. Lily has noticed the change too. She asked me the other day why Rob doesn't hug her goodbye anymore when she leaves for school. I didn't know what to tell her. The final straw came yesterday. I came home from work early, not feeling well, and found Rob going through my personal documents in our home office. When I confronted him, he admitted he was looking for the deed to the beach house. He said he thought if he could find it, he could sell the property without my consent. I was shocked and hurt. I never thought Rob would go behind my back like this. We've always been honest with each other, even when times were tough. When his business went through a rough patch a few years ago and we had to tighten our belts, we faced it together. When Lily was struggling in school and needed a tutor, we made it work. I thought we were partners, but now I feel like I don't know him at all. I told him to leave the house immediately. He tried to argue, saying he was doing it for our family, but I couldn't listen anymore. He's currently staying with his brother, and the boys are with him. Lily is upset and confused about what's happening. She asked me if this means Rob isn't her dad anymore, which broke my heart. I tried to explain that adults sometimes have disagreements, but that Rob still loves her. I'm not sure she believed me, though. I'm trying to stay strong for her, but I'm struggling to process everything that's happened. The beach house, which has always been a source of happy memories for me, now feels tainted by this conflict. I find myself staying up late, looking at old photos of my grandparents and parents at the house, wondering what they would do in my situation. I don't know what to do now. Part of me wants to try and work things out for the sake of our family. We've been through so much together, and the thought of breaking up our family is devastating. But another part feels like this betrayal is too big to overcome. Rob's actions have shown a lack of respect for me and my feelings that I'm not sure I can get past. Am I overreacting? Should I consider selling the house to keep my marriage intact? Or is this a sign of deeper issues that we can't come back from? I feel lost and could really use some outside perspective. Update 1: It's been about a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. Your comments really helped me gain perspective on the situation and gave me the strength to stand my ground. After Rob left, I took some time to think things through. I realized that his behavior wasn't just about the beach house, it was a symptom of larger problems in our relationship. Looking back, I could see patterns I'd overlooked before. There were times when Rob would make decisions without consulting me, assuming I'd go along with what he wanted. I remembered how he pushed for us to move to a bigger house a few years ago, even though I was comfortable where we were. At the time, I'd given in to keep the peace, but now I could see it as part of a larger issue. I decided to stand my ground and not sell the property. Instead, I started looking into ways to make the beach house work for us financially. I contacted a property management company about renting it out during peak seasons, and I've been researching local regulations about short-term rentals. About a week after he left, Rob reached out and asked to talk. We met at a neutral location, a coffee shop in town where we used to have date nights when we first got together. It felt strange to be sitting across from him as almost strangers after all we'd been through. Rob apologized for his behavior, saying he'd had time to reflect and realized he was wrong. He claimed the stress of wanting to start his business had gotten to him, and he'd lost sight of what was really important. He talked about how much he missed the kids and how he wanted to make things right. I listened to what he had to say, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. His apology seemed rehearsed, and he kept steering the conversation back to the beach house and how we could compromise. When I mentioned my plans to rent out the property, he immediately started talking about how we could use that income for his business idea. My suspicions were confirmed a few days later when Lily came to me in tears. She told me that Jack had been messaging her, saying that if she convinced me to sell the beach house, Rob would buy her a car when she turned 16. I was furious. Not only was Rob trying to manipulate me, but he was using the kids to do it. I confronted Rob about this, and he didn't even try to deny it. He said he was doing what was best for the family and that I was being selfish for not considering everyone's needs. That's when I realized there was no coming back from this. The man I thought I knew, the man who had been such a loving father to Lily, seemed to have disappeared. I contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce. When Rob found out, he became furious. He's been spreading lies about me to our friends and family, claiming I'm trying to keep the kids from him and that I've been planning to leave him for months. Some of our mutual friends have stopped speaking to me, and it hurts to realize how easily they believe Rob's version of events. The kids are struggling with the situation. Tom doesn't really understand what's happening and keeps asking when we'll all be living together again. I've tried to explain in age-appropriate terms, but it's hard to make a 12-year-old understand such a complex situation. Jack is angry and blames me for breaking up the family. He refuses to come to the house when it's his weekend with me, saying he doesn't want to stay at the beach house. I'm trying to be patient with him, remembering that he's a teenager dealing with a lot of change, but it's hard not to take his words personally. Lily is quieter than usual, but she told me she's glad we're not going back to Rob. She confided in me that she'd been uncomfortable with how Rob had been acting lately, saying he'd make comments about how she wasn't really part of the family when I wasn't around. Hearing this broke my heart, but it also reinforced that I was making the right decision. I've been trying to maintain a sense of normalcy for the kids. We've been spending weekends at the beach house, and I can see how much it means to Lily to have this connection to her great-grandmother. We've been going through old photo albums together, and I've been sharing stories about my childhood and our family history. It's been a healing process for both of us. On a brighter note, I've reconnected with some old friends who've been incredibly supportive. My friend Margaret, 33F, who I've known since college, has been especially helpful. She's been coming over to help with the kids, bringing dinner when I'm too exhausted to cook, and just lending an ear when I need to talk. Her support has reminded me of the importance of having a strong support system outside of my marriage. The divorce proceedings are just starting, and I know it's going to be a long and difficult process. Rob is contesting the custody arrangement, arguing that since Lily isn't his biological daughter, he shouldn't have to pay child support for her. It's painful to see him try to distance himself from a child he raised for 7 years, but I'm determined to fight for what's best for Lily. Despite all the challenges, I feel a sense of relief. For the first time in a while, I feel like I'm doing the right thing for myself and for Lily. I'm rediscovering parts of myself that I'd let slide during my marriage. I've started painting again, something I used to love but gave up when life got busy with work and kids. I know the road ahead won't be easy, but I'm committed to creating a positive future for myself and my daughter. I'll update again when there are significant developments. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and things have been challenging, to say the least. The divorce proceedings are in full swing, and Rob is fighting me every step of the way. He's contesting the custody arrangement, claiming that since Lily isn't his biological daughter, he shouldn't have to pay child support for her. This, despite the fact that he's been her stepfather for 7 years and has always claimed to see her as his own. The lawyer says this is a common tactic to try and reduce financial obligations, but it doesn't make it any less hurtful. His sons, Jack and Tom, are still living primarily with him. Jack has become increasingly hostile towards me, Lily. Last month, he refused to come for his scheduled weekend visit, saying he didn't want to stay in that stupid beach house. When I tried to talk to him about it, he accused me of choosing the house over their family. It's clear that Rob has been feeding him his version of events, and I'm at a loss for how to counter this narrative without putting Jack in the middle. Tom, on the other hand, seems torn. When he's here, he's affectionate and seems to enjoy spending time with us, but as soon as Rob picks him up, he becomes withdrawn. Last week, he left his journal at our house, and while I didn't read it, I couldn't help but notice the word confused written in large letters on the open page. It breaks my heart to see him struggling like this. Lily is struggling with the loss of her stepbrothers. She and Tom were particularly close, and she misses having him around. I've tried to arrange for them to spend time together without Rob or Jack present, but Rob always finds a reason to cancel. Lily has been throwing herself into her hobbies as a distraction. She's joined the school drama club and has been spending a lot of time working on a mural in her room at the beach house. The situation came to a head 2 weeks ago. It was Lily's birthday, and we had planned a small celebration at the beach house. Tom had promised to come, and Lily was excited to show him the mural she'd been working on. At the last minute, Rob called to say he wouldn't be dropping Tom off. His excuse was flimsy, something about a last-minute soccer practice, and I could hear the hesitation in his voice. Lily was devastated. In a moment of frustration, I called Rob and unleashed all the anger and hurt I'd been holding back. I told him he was being cruel and selfish, using the kids as pawns in his game. I reminded him of all the times he'd promised to always be there for Lily, of the father-daughter dances he'd attended, of the bedtime stories he'd read her. To my surprise, he broke down. Rob admitted that he'd been acting out of hurt and pride, and that he knew he was damaging his relationship with the kids. We had a long, honest conversation for the first time in months. He confessed that he'd been struggling financially, his business wasn't doing as well as he'd led everyone to believe, and he saw the beach house as a way out of his problems. He also admitted to feeling insecure about his role in Lily's life, especially as she got older and more independent. While I appreciate his honesty, it doesn't undo the hurt he's caused. We've agreed to try family counseling, not to reconcile, but to find a way to co-parent effectively for the sake of the kids. Our first session is scheduled for next week, and I'm nervous but hopeful that it might help us find a way forward. On a personal note, I've started a small online business selling handmade jewelry. It's something I've always enjoyed as a hobby, and it's been a welcome distraction from the stress of the divorce. I've been using the sunroom at the beach house as a workshop, and there's something soothing about working with my hands while looking out at the ocean. Lily has even been helping me, designing some pieces and managing our social media accounts. It's been a great way for us to bond and has given her something positive to focus on. The beach house has become our sanctuary. We spend most weekends there now, and I can see the positive effect it's having on Lily. She's starting to open up more, talking about her feelings and her fears about the future. Last weekend, we sat on the beach watching the sunset, and she told me she was proud of me for standing up for myself. It meant more to me than I can express. I know we still have a long road ahead, but I'm cautiously optimistic. If nothing else, this experience has shown me how strong Lily and I can be together. Whatever happens with Rob and the boys, I know we'll be okay. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm happy to report that things have finally started to stabilize. The divorce was finalized last month. In the end, Rob and I managed to come to an agreement without going to court. He's accepted that the beach house will remain mine, and we've worked out a fair custody arrangement for all 3 kids. It wasn't easy, and there were times when I thought we'd never reach an agreement, but the family counseling sessions really helped. Speaking of family counseling, it's been incredibly helpful. Our therapist, Dr. Anderson, has given us tools to communicate better and work through our issues. It's given us a safe space to air our grievances and find common ground. Jack was resistant at first, rolling his eyes and giving one-word answers, but he's slowly coming around. In our last session, he actually apologized to Lily for his behavior over the past year. It was a breakthrough moment, and I could see the relief on Lily's face. Tom has been thriving with a new arrangement. He splits his time evenly between Rob's place and the beach house, and he seems happier and more relaxed than I've seen him in years. He's joined a local surfing club and spends hours in the water when he's at the beach house. It's wonderful to see him finding his own passion. Lily has shown incredible resilience throughout this whole ordeal. She's really come into her own over the past few months. Her involvement in the school drama club has boosted her confidence, and she recently landed the lead role in the school play. She's made some new friends through the club, and they often come to stay at the beach house on weekends. It's wonderful to see her laughing and enjoying life again. My jewelry business has really taken off. What started as a distraction has turned into a successful small business. I've even been approached by a few local boutiques about stocking my pieces. Lily loves to help out, and we've turned the sunroom at the beach house into a full-fledged workshop. It's become a special bonding time for us, working side by side, chatting about our days. Rob and I are on better terms now. We're not friends, but we can have civil conversations about the kids without it turning into an argument. He started his own business, a small landscaping company, and seems to be doing well. He's been more consistent with his time with the kids, which has made a big difference in their relationships. Last weekend, we had a big family dinner at the beach house. All 3 kids, Rob, and even my friend Margaret came. It wasn't perfect, there were a few awkward moments, but it was nice to see everyone together without tension. We even managed to laugh about some old family stories. It felt like a glimpse of what our future might look like, different from what I'd imagined, but not necessarily worse. I won't pretend it's all been easy. There are still days when I feel overwhelmed or doubt my decisions. The legal fees from the divorce have been a strain, and I'm still adjusting to managing everything on my own. But then I look at Lily, at how she's grown and how close we've become, and I know I made the right choice. The beach house, which was once a source of so much conflict, has become a symbol of our resilience and our future. It's not just a piece of property, it's a home filled with new memories and new beginnings. We've started a tradition of Friday night bonfires on the beach, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. Last week, Jack actually joined us voluntarily for the first time. As I sit here on the porch, watching the sunset over the ocean, I feel a sense of peace I haven't experienced in years. The path forward isn't always clear, and I know we'll face more challenges, but I'm no longer afraid to face them. Whatever comes our way, I know we'll face it together, stronger for what we've been through.